everybody just take a breath. Because now it's becoming hard to...
I'm sorry, but people...
Hold on, let me just finish what I'm saying so that I can just say everybody has something to say at the table. We really do want to hear from everybody, but we're starting to do that thing.
Right.
And so I don't
know what that means, this thing.
It means you're talking over each other.
Well, it's the view.
Take a breath because things are really heating up. I know this is intense, but stay with me. I just need to finish explaining this. Everyone at the table has something to say, and we want to hear from everyone. But right now, we're slipping into that familiar pattern. You know what I mean, right? Yes, talking over each other. And of course, this is The View. After countless episodes of Whoopi Goldberg dismissing conservative opinions, shutting down guests like they didn't matter, and treating the show as her personal kingdom where her word was final, she finally met her match. Someone who wasn't intimidated. Someone who didn't just challenge her, but absolutely obliterated her arguments in real time, leaving the panel utterly speechless. That someone? Karoline Leavitt. Karoline didn't just hold her ground, she completely controlled the conversation. She exposed Whoopi's blatant contradictions, dismantled her talking points, and left the hosts in stunned silence. And that silence? A first in the show's history. The same women who constantly interrupt guests with sarcastic remarks and smug dismissals suddenly had nothing to say. The irony? Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar love to call conservatives conspiracy theorists, yet they have been completely wrong about everything they've pushed over the last few years. And now, chaos. ABC executives are scrambling. Insiders are whispering about a possible shakeup. There are even rumors that some of the panelists might be on their way out. Could Whoopi's reign over The View be coming to an end? So, what exactly did Karoline say that left Whoopi flustered, defensive, and completely out of control? What words shook the entire studio and the internet? Let's break it down. It all started when Whoopi, Joy, and the rest of the panel decided to lecture Karoline on wokeness, treating her like she was some clueless outsider in need of their enlightened wisdom. They framed the discussion as if their progressive ideology was the only logical stance, shutting down any opposing view as ignorant or extreme. But Karoline wasn't having it. With absolute confidence, she fired back. The President of the United States, Joe Biden, delivered the most divisive and inflammatory speech of any sitting president in modern history. He essentially declared war on half of the country, labeling Americans who prioritize their nation's interests as a threat to democracy. But wanting a secure border, a thriving economy, and a strong military isn't radical, it's patriotic. Then she took it further. She exposed the truth that millions of Americans see. Voters are going to send President Trump back to the White House very soon because they see these so-called trials for what they really are: political warfare. These are sham trials. Blatant election interference, an attempt to imprison a political opponent before the people can have their say. The irony is that Biden, the Democrats, and The View constantly claim that Trump is a danger to democracy, yet they are the ones hoping to imprison him despite him not being convicted of any crimes. That is the real attack on democracy, and voters see it. That's why Trump is dominating the polls, not just among Republicans and independents, but also among African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and working class voters who have had enough. You could feel the energy in the room shift. The panel was completely thrown off. They weren't used to this. Normally, they control the discussion, drowning out opposing voices with smug remarks and exaggerated outrage. But this time, their usual tactics weren't working. Whoopi, clearly irritated, sighed dramatically and rolled her eyes. Before Karoline could even finish speaking, Joy Behar, practically trembling with impatience, seized the moment to deliver one of her infamous put-downs. "Oh please, Karoline, you have no idea what you're talking about." But Karoline wasn't rattled. She stared Whoopi down and delivered a devastating truth bomb. "It's fascinating how you preach about fairness and open dialogue, yet the moment someone disagrees with you, they're suddenly uninformed or dangerous." And just like that, silence. The panel, normally a relentless force of interruptions and sarcastic jabs, was suddenly at a loss for words. Even some audience members, who are usually primed to cheer on command, shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Whoopi, desperate to regain control, tried to pivot, launching into her usual lecture about conservatives playing the victim. But Karoline didn't let up. She called out The View for its long history of silencing opposing voices, referencing past episodes where conservative guests were cut off, ridiculed, or even walked out on by Whoopi herself. Joy, desperate to steer the conversation back in her favor, attempted to redirect, but it was too late. Karoline had exposed the show's hypocrisy in real time, and Whoopi had no idea how to recover. And then, the backlash began. Within minutes, clips of the exchange exploded across social media. Outrage poured in from every corner of the internet. Hashtags like Whoopi exposed and Karoline owns the View began trending. ABC flooded with messages from furious viewers, advertisers nervous, and behind the scenes, total chaos. Then, the real bombshell dropped. Whoopi Goldberg was mysteriously absent from the next episode. ABC issued a vague statement, claiming she was taking time to reflect. But everyone paying attention knew what was happening. Damage control. For years, Whoopi and her co-hosts have claimed to champion women's empowerment, while simultaneously tearing down any woman who refuses to conform to their ideology. They claim to fight sexism, yet they have no problem belittling a conservative woman's achievements. And now, Karoline called them out. She shattered their illusion of moral superiority, and just like that, Whoopi Goldberg, long thought to be untouchable, was left speechless. But this is only the beginning. ABC is in full-blown crisis mode. They're scrambling to contain the damage, but the pressure is mounting. Rumors suggest big changes are coming. Some insiders claim network executives are considering a major shakeup, possibly even parting ways with certain hosts whose reputations have become liabilities. Meanwhile, Whoopi has remained uncharacteristically silent. In past controversies, she's been quick to fight back, often doubling down on her remarks. But this time, sources close to the show claim she's feeling the pressure like never before. She's reportedly furious with how ABC is handling the situation and is even weighing her options. And let's not forget about Karoline Leavitt. Her fearless stance has catapulted her into the national spotlight. Conservative media is celebrating her takedown of Whoopi Goldberg. Offers for interviews, speaking engagements, and even political opportunities are pouring in. Meanwhile, mainstream outlets, scrambling to downplay what happened. But here's the thing, the footage speaks for itself. Millions of Americans are waking up to the View's pattern of silencing dissent. Calls for more balanced media representation are growing louder. Even some left-leaning commentators have admitted that the show's credibility has taken a huge hit. So, will the View survive this? Or is this the beginning of the end for its current format? ABC executives will have to make a choice. Stay the course and risk losing even more viewers, or admit their critics were right all along. One thing is certain, Karoline Leavitt didn't just win this debate, she set a precedent. The View can no longer pretend to be an open forum for discussion when it's clearly anything but. And now, millions of Americans are watching closely to see what happens next. Like, comment, and subscribe. Before we dive deeper into the fallout from this explosive moment, let's talk about what's happening behind the scenes at ABC. Executives are panicking. The backlash isn't just some minor controversy that will blow over in a few days. This is turning into a full-blown crisis. Insiders claim that emergency meetings have been called, and high-level discussions are underway about the future of The View. For years, ABC has allowed the show to operate like a progressive echo chamber, dismissing and ridiculing any guest who dared to offer a different perspective. But this time, the audience noticed, the internet noticed, even some media outlets that typically defend The View are forced to acknowledge that Whoopi and her co-hosts looked terrible in this exchange. And then, the ratings drop. Since Karoline Leavitt's appearance, The View has seen a noticeable decline in viewership. Audiences are tuning out in frustration. Online forums, social media platforms, and conservative news outlets are buzzing with discussions about the moment Whoopi met her match. And it's not just conservatives. Some moderates and even a few left-leaning viewers are admitting that The View's bias has become impossible to ignore. And now, ABC executives are in damage control mode, scrambling to restore order before advertisers start pulling their money. According to industry insiders, heated meetings have taken place behind closed doors. High-level network executives are seriously questioning whether The View's aggressive partisan stance is sustainable in an era where audiences are demanding more balanced discussions. And here's where it gets really interesting. There are rumors that ABC is considering major changes to the show. Some insiders claim that panel reshuffling is on the table. Others whisper that certain hosts, yes, including Whoopi Goldberg, might be shown the door if the controversy continues to spiral. Meanwhile, Whoopi herself is acting very different than usual. Typically, when she faces backlash, she goes on the offensive. She'll double down, play the victim, and try to frame any criticism as a right-wing attack. But this time, she's unusually quiet. Sources close to the show say Whoopi is frustrated, not just with how Karoline embarrassed her on live television, but also with ABC's response. Insiders claim she's furious that the network hasn't defended her more aggressively, and there are even whispers that she might be considering stepping away from The View altogether. And that would be earth-shattering. For years, Whoopi has ruled The View with an iron grip. She's been untouchable. But now, the cracks are showing, and for the first time in a long time, her dominance is being seriously questioned. But while Whoopi retreats, Karoline Leavitt is rising. Her fearless stand against The View has catapulted her into the spotlight like never before. Conservative media outlets are rallying behind her, praising her for exposing the show's hypocrisy. She's receiving offers left and right, interviews, speaking engagements, and even discussions about future political opportunities. And here's the most shocking part. This moment isn't just about The View. Karoline's takedown of Whoopi has ignited a broader debate about media bias. People are finally asking, why do mainstream outlets constantly frame conservative views as dangerous or misinformed? Why is open debate so often shut down when it doesn't align with progressive narratives? And why do shows like The View get away with silencing dissenting voices while claiming to support diversity of thought? It's a conversation that ABC never wanted to have, but now they can't ignore it. And if they think the backlash is going to die down anytime soon, they're dead wrong. Because at this very moment, more and more Americans are waking up to the truth about The View and its deeply biased agenda. The question now is, what happens next? Will ABC try to sweep this under the rug and hope people move on? Will they actually make changes to the show? And most importantly, will Whoopi Goldberg survive this scandal? One thing is certain, Karoline Leavitt didn't just win a debate. She exposed an entire system of media manipulation. And now, millions of Americans are watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.